What is up, Rotogrinders? Dean here. Dean 78904. That is the daily fantasy handle around the industry. It is a big boy slate. Hump day. What's up, y'all there? Hey, do you subscribe out there in the YouTube world? We are talking tonight's 9-game NBA DFS slate. A little bit rattled here because just before the show, some more injury news, I guess COVID news, I should say, dropped. One of the cheap punts on the slate that's treated us well or poorly, depending on the night you played him. Hassan Whiteside, the backup center for Utah, is entering the health and protocol situation. So, and of course, Utah is already without their number 1 in Rudy Gobert, their number 3 in Azubuike, or maybe number 4, depending on how you're counting it. And their other big that's kind of lurking out there is Norvel Pelle. He is questionable with an illness. Yeah, we're just trying to figure out scrambling. And, you know, their opponent tonight is Cleveland. Cleveland is a team that's got some big boys as well, too. They run about as big as anybody else. So you're probably going to want some size on the inside. Not a lot of options there. Yeah. We will dissect that. What's up, Grant?
Size on the inside.
Really? That's what got, that's what got you. I would say you're such a child, but like that, you were confirmed being such a child because what were you listening to pre-show? What was that cover? What was the music you were blasting?
A Goofy movie. Eye to Eye.
Yeah, your hype music to get ready for the show, so the people know out there is Goofy, the Goofy soundtrack.
Well, you know, if we listen to each other's heart, we'll find we're never too far apart. Maybe love is the reason why.
Dean, choose your next words carefully.
Is that something Goofy says? I don't know.
Oh gosh, great. Who? Oh, why am I forgetting? It wasn't Goofy that was singing that.
Was it Mickey? Was it Minnie?
Powerline.
No, it was
Powerline.
Powerline, and it was something that had to do with electricity. I don't know why I was blanking.
Is Powerline a person or a cartoon?
Powerline is the cartoon, and he was voiced by the great American singer-songwriter Tevin Campbell.
Tevin Campbell.
Well, there you go. You know, the more you know.
I remember him.
Curtis, get me out of this conversation.
I want to. Tevin Campbell had like one hit, and I want to remember what it was.
It wasn't Powerline. Whatever voice says Powerline. Whatever Grant's talking about.
Can we talk?
Yeah, can we talk? Yeah. Sorry.
You know, I didn't say with no pleasantries, but I feel like today might be a no pleasantry slate.
Yeah, it should be a no pleasantry slate. And certainly, if you listen to our pre-show conversation, there was no pleasantries to be had.
Well, that's because you're not a pleasant person, Dino.
It's just me and Grant like yelling at each other, basically, and calling each other names. It's good times for sure. Yeah, it's a 9-game slate. It's a big boy. And we have, some late games as well too. This is so annoying because we have, 2 of the studs on Brooklyn tonight are questionable and they're in Chicago. And you think, well, we should get the information because it's in Chicago. But because it's an ESPN game, they manipulated the times and it's a 10 o'clock game, East Coast style, and 9 o'clock local, which you don't really see very often. But that's what they get to be on prime time, I suppose. Kyrie and Harden are both questionable. Hopefully we'll get some information about that. Who really knows? Of course, a lot of other pieces fell. Some of the San Antonio guys may be coming back as well from the health and protocol situation. So some of the guys that might look like values right now or might look like values earlier in the day, they're probably going to get back some reinforcements. I don't want to say probably, but there's a decent chance guys like Kelvin Johnson and Vassell and even White come back. We're going to go ahead and break it down game by game. Going to be scrambling throughout and refreshing as far as lineup HQ. And I'm sure our projection team is all over that Utah situation. And my first thought is, we'll see. I guess Pell if he starts, but maybe Pascal is going to potentially draw the start as well instead of Whiteside, who entered the health and protocol situation. But we'll wait on our projection team and see what they have to say about that. Plenty of time to knock that out throughout the show. Grant, you have any overarching thoughts as far as this slate before we kind of break it down game by game? Anything that sort of sticks out to you without, obviously, as always, pay attention to the news?
There's no real low-owned guy that I love on this slate. It's just kind of tough to get away from the chart. This is one of those slates where there is a lot of very good plays, and I mean, Whiteside might add more of them to it, but we had the COVID slates where there was just a never-ending amount of good plays. And then we had I think 1 or 2 random slates where everyone was kind of priced accordingly. And now there are very few low owned guys that I really like. And it's probably only 2 or 3. Most of the good plays are plays that you should play. Spend ups are pretty simple. If you want to go slightly off the board with any one of 4 or 5 guys that'll be in single digit, that's fine. But more than likely, you're sticking with the 3 main spend ups on the slate because they're all in just absolute smash spots.
Kirk D, same question for you as I scramble to put in my my old school headphones because I'm somehow went on low battery after 10 minutes. This was supposed to be fully charged. What's going on over here? My technology is failing me. Big shocker. Kirk D, overarching thoughts as far as the slate.
The first thing that comes to my mind on this slate is that it's really difficult, at least at this moment. The value is, the Dinwiddie is an auto play, right? We have some of those that are hard fades, but we don't really have any good chalk to fit these big studs in LeBron. We have Onkungo Wale, is that how I pronounce it? On Atlanta. It seems like whatever. The minutes will be there, but I don't know how efficient or the production will be. And so I don't really feel good with a lot of Bills yet. We have to wait on the Spurs news, which is going to be huge, right? Because that'll be a good spot. That's a great game environment. We can certainly use a lot of that value, but then we got to know about this Brooklyn stuff, which is, like you said, later on.
I want to say I'm proud of myself for figuring that stuff. I figured that out on the fly. Thank you guys for killing some time for me. All right, I can hear y'all, and we're going old school with the wire and everything. It's like 1997 all of a sudden.
Oh, and I don't even have a wire right now.
I don't. Well, you have that fancy technology there. You had that.
I've got my AirPods, my second pair of AirPods.
Oh, you got backups? This is what happens.
You have which version is it? Or are they?
The pros.
Yeah, I don't have AirPods because
last time I hung out with Kirk D's, I lost my AirPod.
Oh, you did?
Yeah. No, I accidentally left it at, where was I staying? Planet Hollywood. I left one of them. So they're like, you can pay $70 to get a new one or $80 to get a new one, or I could just buy a new set for $180. I'm like, I'm just buy a new set and have one AirPod for my podcasts. I'm a thinker.
This is the luxury you have when you win $300,000 the sports betting championships. All of a sudden you're like Scrooge McDuck, swimming in those.
Well, I'm poor after last night.
Oh, well, what happened last night?
I lost everything.
You know what? You need. I had a bad night too, and I've made some stupid decisions, but you need those to keep you in check, right? You gotta can't get lazy.
So your ego doesn't get too big. Is that
no? I sent out some of my plays to my buddy today. He's like, nice, we're gonna have a bounce back night. And I'm like, I don't know, maybe. He's like, oh, I love the confidence. I'm like, well, when you lose a new Honda Civic in one day, you kind of lose a little bit of confidence.
Well, here,
rate of a Honda Civic these days. Like,
last time I saw Grant, we were eating A5 Wagyu. We went on a nice show afterwards. After dinner, we had a nice date that night. Where did we go to? Cirque du Soleil.
Marimoto's.
Yeah. Good
Well,
stuff.
let's go ahead and break it down game by game.
Yeah, Baccarat was great.
Oh, jeez.
Levert
you
will
bet in the
play,
banker or the
Go-Go
player?
will-
I mean, I'm
I
always
do
looking
both.
for a banker run. You do both, but you're always waiting for that right moment for a banker run. Like that's the game.
It's right on cue. Good job there, Grant, as far as who's in, who's out.
Should I bet
Harris,
the bonus
Levert.
under 20.5?
I mean, Gogo Batazzi doesn't matter. He's available, but Levert's going to eat on Sabonis to some degree, I suppose. And yeah, other things to Tobias Harris, we expected him to play, so that wasn't really a crazy thing. And Seth Curry is now a game time decision with his ankle. Philadelphia did get Maxey back. We'll talk about that in a second. All right, Kirk Tees, let's talk about your Boston Celtics. They're facing the Indiana Pacers. 210 is the total. Indiana is currently a 3-point dog. I'd imagine since we're getting Pacer news, we're going to get Brogdon news in a second. Let me know, Grant, if we do. Gogo Batadze, who cares? Duarte is questionable. I believe he had a child, or his wife or girlfriend had a child.
Brogdon available to play.
Okay, so that makes it easy. I don't like anybody.
Cross out that game. Duarte is ruled out, but cross off that game.
Yeah, I mean, Curtis, you like anybody in the Pacers with Brogdon coming back, and there's no chance I'm playing. No, I mean, of course you can play Sabonis in tournaments or whatever, but sell me on any Pacer if you want. Otherwise, talk about your Celtics.
I'm not paying 8,600 for Levert. I mean, you could play Sabonis, but I mean that would be for deep GPPs. Brogdon, I wonder what his conditioning will be, but we don't know. It's so I hate having to deal with this stuff like their first game's back, but it ruins everybody. You can't play Lance anymore. I don't think, but
it's a good run. Good run for Lance.
Yeah, and hell of a run. I missed it all too, but I think the Celtics side, you could play some people. There's, I think that you could. I think Dennis Schroeder, the minutes we're not sure about because in the last game it was more Jay Rich, but with Smart out, I do think he'll get run here. He is an good offensive player for them at times, so I like him. I think you can play Jalen and GPPs, although his price is right next to Tatum. So I mean, you could play either of them, to be honest with you. But it's not a cash build here with any of these guys.
Yeah, your thoughts here, Grant. As far as Boston, it is important to note that Smart is out and Pritchard is expected to be available. And we saw Dennis Schroeder, like the best run he's had this season was when Smart was out. But like Curtis referenced, Jarrett's kind of sort of surpassed him, at least recently. Like, it doesn't mean Schroeder can't come back and overtake him, but and his price is kind of reflective. It's been down. He hasn't been incredible, but there's certainly an opportunity for Schroeder, but not terribly comfortable, I suppose. And then there's the two prize pieces you can consider on this slate. As far as big spends go, I don't think they're the best amongst the big spends, but sure, you can play them. Boston thoughts here, Grant?
Fade everything. Fade everything in this game. I have no interest. I mean, both Brown and Tatum are in play. They're both under 10K. They're both fine. They're not great. They're not good. There's better spend ups on the slate. You can play him, though, if you really want to in tournaments. Like Robert Williams has a little bit of upside. With all the guards back, completely cross out the guards. Sabonis, 10K, can't do that. Miles Turner, always in play for tournaments, but realistically, just full-on fade this game.
Yeah, I'm always looking for excuses to not play the early game when there's late news waiting to be had. Like, and then there's a tie. It's like, oh, do I want to play this guy at 7 o'clock or this guy at 10 o'clock, who I think they're both kind of like good? I'm always going to lean on the 10 o'clock guy. And yeah, I don't think I need anything in this game. Charlotte, Philadelphia, 225 is the total. Philadelphia is a 5-point favorite against the Hornets. Philadelphia is expected to get back Tyrese Maxey. Seth Curry is questionable. If he does go, he will lose some of that ball handling ability because Maxey will take it away. We just saw Tobias Harris expected to play. As far as the Charlotte side, they are fully healthy with the exception of Kelly Oubre, who's on the health protocol situation deal. I'll throw this one to you, Grant. Well, Here's the thing: is like there's going to be a lot of the centers. Well, we're going to get somebody cheap as far as Utah. They might actually be forward eligible, depending on because there's not a lot of big bodies left. And earlier in the day, Whiteside was one of the guys we were looking at. Okongwu, one of the guys we're looking at. But if you want to go the other way in that fork in the road and spend up at center, it's pretty clear that Embiid is the big spend up. Awesome matchup here against Charlotte. He's been crushing of late. Yeah. How do you feel about Embiid as a big spend at center? And it's a lineup decision, obviously. Is that something you're willing to do?
Yeah, Embiid's definitely a guy that's in play. Whether I end up getting to him, I don't know. But he's at 11.2K. He's very solid. He's been putting up over 30 points per game for 30 real life points. Should be in the 60-point range in this spot here, going up against Charlotte, one of the best matchups you can possibly get on the board with only a 5-point spread. Granted, I am a little bit worried about a blowout because Philly's playing at home and Harris is back, but it's not enough to get off of Embiid considering that he should be the main beneficiary of it. But outside of that, like with Maxey back, like if Seth Curry ends up playing, I'm not playing him. Maxey is potentially in play, but realistically with Harris in the lineup too, I'm probably going to end up crossing both those guys off. It's just a tough overall scenario to play anyone outside of Embiid in Philly, but doing a game stack is probably the one scenario where I would end up going with Maxey, where I would end up going with Harris.
I think Embiid's going to come in pretty low owned too, because again, kind of referencing a Okongwu is going to be low owned. Now, of course, you can play him on a forward, on DK, but on FanDuel, I think he's only center eligible. Robin Lopez is another guy we might talk about as a potential cheap center.
And don't forget Alex Len.
Yeah, I mean,
that's the feeling we're having tonight.
We talked about Alex Len briefly last night. I just don't like playing Alex Len, and the Lakers are going to. I mean, LeBron versus Len. Like we're going to see LeBron versus Len as starting fives. Like he is going to work him so hard. We'll talk about that, I suppose. And I know Sacramento's thin as far as their bigs, but yeesh. What do you have here, Kirk D's? I'm just kind of refreshing, see what we have as far as our ownership stuff, and that's going to change soon enough. We'll let you all know what it does. But yeah, with Maxey being back, it does hinder Curry if Curry does play. Korkmaz takes a hit as well too. Yeah, whatever you want to add as far as Philadelphia, and by all means go with Charlotte too. And we do see some decent prices on LaMelo. Bridges, I think, is playable, but again, they're fully healthy, but they do play pretty tight rotations as well. So tackle this game for me.
Yeah. So if Seth Curry is out, if we do get that, I do like Maxey a little bit better at 5,400. I think he's gonna, if he's comfortable enough to play full minutes, then he's going to get him. And, I think it's risky for sure, but I think he has a ceiling here. Embiid is doing everything. He's even playing point. The thing with Embiid is like, you think you're smashing and you're like won the slate in the first half. And then it gets progressively worse. Usually with him when he gasses, it
was a blowout last game. It wasn't his fault. They were just too good.
Correct. That was last game. But both ways are in play always with him. But the usage is insane. I mean, he's like 40% usage, 35% usage in like every single game. He's doing everything. And this is the second best possible center matchup you can get. So he is definitely in play for a top stud. I don't really like anyone else besides those two. On the other side, I do like some plays here. I do like some of the Hornets guys. I like Miles Bridges. I think that he could go up. I think Gordon Hayward is playable. He's had a rough go of it, a couple of good games here and there, but his price is cheap. I think you can squeeze some upside, and I'll fade LaMelo because of Tybal. I think they'll be thrown at him pretty much all game, but I think that makes me like Terry Rozier a little bit, but the price is a little high.
How much do you think? You mentioned Embiid handling the ball, and like they've been running the offense through him, and like that's definitely for sure been happening because they haven't had a point guard essentially. Does Maxey come back hurt Embiid, or just not enough for you to care?
I don't think it's I think it makes the overall team a little bit better. I think Embiid is still gonna be the number one option. Maxey's just gonna give the ball to Embiid. That's what's gonna happen.
We did get a refresh as far as our lineup HQ updates as of 5:25, and even an ownership update as well too. We do have Embiid at 20% on DK currently right now as far as our projection. Nobody else in the game higher than 11% for what it's worth. Gordon Hayward and Maxey. And you're fine. You assume Maxey's going to go out there and just play 31, 32, 33 minutes, something like that. It won't be an issue, as far as you can tell.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah. There's a lot of ifs.
I don't know either, but we were projecting 32. And if he plays 32, I think that's playable for sure, obviously. The third game that starts at 7 o'clock or 7 o'clock officially at lock time, I guess we should say. It's starting at like 7:09. 213.5 is the total between
Did we
the
talk
Orlando.
about Charlotte?
We just did.
No, I didn't get to say anything. I love Melo.
Okay, tell me why you like Melo.
He's 8.7K now. He's so cheap compared to what he has been. And I get he has been performing recently at a huge level, but I mean, realistically, that's just too cheap of a price tag for him. Even a matchup versus Philly, he still has 70-point upside in any given spot. The guy can absolutely crush. And I mean, you're just buying low on him. He's one of the few guys to spend up on where you can get a huge amount of upside.
If you play Melo, do you feel obligated to play Embiid or at least somebody back on Philly? Or no, just you can play him a la carte?
Yeah.
All right. The Magic versus the Wizards, 213.5 is the total. Washington is a 6-point favorite tonight. They are expected to get Thomas Bryant back. Of course, his minutes will be monitored. This is the guy like once upon a time we used to pay $7K for. I don't even know what his price is. I can't imagine he is playable.
I think it's 4K.
Yeah, and they have so many bodies now. It's so cluttered. Beal, of course, is out. That's the only guy out in the entire team. That does change things as far as usage, of course. But, you know, they have Kuzma and Gafford and Harrell and Avdia and Rui Hachimura, who maybe they sit him because it's a back-to-back, and he just came back as well from injury. Thomas Bryant, not going to – there's just so many people. And Kuzma's been amazing. His rebounding rate is for sure going to take a hit, with we saw Harrell just come back last night. And again, one more big out there on Thomas Bryant. Sure, Kuzma can get there, and the matchup's good against Orlando. But the clear and obvious play here, Grant, is Spencer Dinwiddie, especially on DK, where the price has not changed. 6K, he's going to run the show. We've seen him run the show every single time. Beal is out. I think he's averaging like 48 or 49 DK points per game on the season when that happens, like 8 or 9 games, something like that. Tell me why I should just I'm lock buttoning him, right, Grant? I'm playing Dinwiddie on DK, and that's that.
Yep. Don't even think twice. And if you want to play anyone else, it's pretty much just Kuzma.
Curtis, your thoughts here? It's just there's a lot of people on Washington now. They got to figure this out.
Yeah, I echo Grant's sentiment. Dinwiddie is just an obvious easy smash. Has crushed 6 out of the 7 times. He had one bad game where it was like a 30. He put up like 30 or 29 when Beal was out. But so you play him. Kuzma, I can get behind a little bit, but I'm not really crazy about it. I think it's just 8K is just a lot. Feels like, and I have no interest in any of the other guys. I do have some interest on the other side though.
Yeah. By the way, Dinwiddie 58% owned is our projection right now on DK. And like, that's not wrong. And I'm going to be over that. And it sounds like you guys are going to be over that as well. It's just really, really hard to get away from. Nice matchup and just how he thrives in the absence of Beal. It is a back-to-back, but like, even if he plays 32, 33 minutes or so, we saw him rest, historically on some back-to-backs. But talk to me about the Orlando side. Kirk Dees, you said you have some interest. Obviously, we should know. I kind of referenced Robin Lopez. He hasn't played in a while, I guess, but he should probably draw the start in the absence of Wendell Carter Jr., in the absence of Mo Bamba. Is Robin Lopez somebody you're kind of sort of someone interested in, or maybe a pretty cheap by his standards Cole Anthony?
Yeah, Cole Anthony, I certainly feel better about, so I can get on board there. The Robin Lopez this is the kind of chalk that we're struggling that we have to play tonight. Now, granted, he on a per minute basis, he's almost a fantasy point per minute. He's pretty good, and he should get the minutes. I mean, what are they going to do? They don't have Mo Bamba. They don't have Wendell Carter Jr. So I think you just got to roll the dice, and you're going to have to. I'm kind of indifferent on the play. I don't like it, but at this point, I need it. Chuma Okeke's in play. Cole Anthony is my favorite, and I can get behind a little bit of Franz Wagner.
Let's see. We got Anthony projected for 35 minutes. We're projecting Lopez for 29 for what it's worth, and like you said, pretty solid.
He is starting.
Okay, is that just dropped right now?
Yeah.
Thank you. And 0.92 fantasy points per minute on the season for Robin Lopez. And it's also a revenge game for him because he's very angry at Washington. Yeah, Grant, feel free to jump in here. Your thoughts as far as Orlando. The thing is, he's so DK, you only have 2 centers. Well, 1 center on the utility spot. You can create that 2 centers. I believe he's got to be only center only, right? I'm assuming he's center only on DK. So how much do you prioritize that at 4K and say he puts up 26, 27? Is that good enough?
He's just a guy that makes things work. Like there's not much value on the slate. He's a guy that makes things work. That's why he's getting played. And that's why I will play him. Don't love it. Don't hate it. He just is there, makes things work, has a little bit of upside, has a high enough floor. That's pretty much it. The real guy that you want to play in this game is Cole Anthony. Cole Anthony is going to smash here. You look at what he's done recently and put up 40 in 3 of his last 4. He hasn't been shooting well. He's been shooting very poorly, especially over his last 2, 24% and 28% over the last 2. The shot volume has absolutely been there, including going up against Washington last time. Like he gets the peripheral stats. He's always a threat at least coming close to a triple-double. I already bet the over on his points on this slate. I think I bet the over on his 3-pointers. He is a guy that I'm going to end up playing a ton of.
All right. Let's anything else that we're saying here, Kirk Dees, as far as this game, or shall we move on?
I mean, we've seen the situations when Rolo gets like 30 minutes, he's smashed. He put up 37, 39, 32 in that little stretch in December. So, I mean, we just got to hope that he's going to get the minutes. And I think any starting, that's a great indication. So I think he's as of right now, he's the chalk we're using.
Just trying to think who their backup 5 would be. Like, who would they play when he's off the court? Would it be Mo Wagner? Possibly. Would there be backup 5? A little small ball, I suppose. I don't really know. Yeah, just kind of trying to figure out like who else they would have. But all right, I'm running some optimals as well too. I'm kind of seeing because we did figure out the Utah situation, at least to the best of our ability at this time without further information. Dallas and the Knicks. This feels like kind of a catch me up game. You guys let me know. 204.5 is the total. The Knicks are a 2-point dog here. 2 of the slowest teams in all of basketball. Now Dallas is without Porzingis, so Luka certainly becomes appealing. Luka being back, obviously, is a big hit on Jalen Brunson, and the rest of the Dallas pieces are kind of worthless. New York, we do have their own as well questionable. Taj is questionable. Kemba Walker is questionable. So situations can change. I believe we have Kemba currently projected in right now. If he's out, guys like Burks would be a little bit more interesting. I'll throw it to you, Grant. Is my assessment that this game is, of course you can play Luka, but otherwise this game is pretty meh.
You can play Luka. I don't hate Randall over on DraftKings. He's 8.5K. Like his prices drop pretty drastically. So there's a decent amount of upside there. He's currently in my main lineup today. Just because he kind of fits with all the guys I want. Like I don't have a single stud in my main lineup today.
Interesting. I mean, that may change, obviously, too. I mean, there's it could change.
Stud, like I have
DeJounte Murray a stud?
Yes. So I don't have DeJounte, I don't have Embiid, I don't have LeBron in my main lineup today.
You're gonna lose, my friends.
I may.
I don't know. I mean, you lost yesterday, you lose again today. It's gonna be rough times for you, Grant.
Yesterday was sports gambling. I lost a ton of money. And it was mostly due to the best player in the NBA.
Dean, this is unfair. Mental health is like the biggest thing that we have going against us in DFS that we struggle with, like trying to figure out, if we're optimistic, feeling good and running well, or if we don't see the board, we're feeling bad. And you put that in Grant's head tonight.
I don't have that.
I don't know. I don't like that. I don't like that.
Kirk, you know who's the biggest mush on earth? It's
Big
him.
Dino?
So when he says that, I just get the biggest vote of confidence in the world. If Dean says you're wrong, you're doing something right.
By the way, we got Brunson at 24% currently right now in FanDuel, which is a little bit surprising to me. 5.8K over there, and we're projecting about 30 fantasy points or so. I guess that's fine, but I don't know. It seems a little bit. I know Porzingis is out, but I don't love that projection. Maybe I'm wrong on that one. You guys tell me.
I mean, he's the projection's probably right. He's 5.8K on FanDuel. He makes things work.
Yeah, he's fine. Yeah, I haven't really considered him today, but I suppose if you land on that, you're probably not completely blowing up your lineup either. Kirk Dees, what do you have as far as this game? And I guess if Kemba plays, is he interesting to you? He's 5.2K on FanDuel. And would they bring him back just to play 20 minutes, or they would just throw him right back in the fire like Tibbs is one to do, which is a question, well, I guess would be answered if he's starting or not, I suppose. 6.5 on DK, probably not playable. I don't want to say that no matter what, but most likely not playable no matter any situation. What do you have for me as far as this game, Kirk D? He's the highest projected owned guy right now in this game. I don't believe this projection, for the record. We have DFS at 16% on a DK, and I don't think that's correct. I don't think he's going to be that popular. But this stuff changes. Obviously, it's fluid.
He's cheap, but I would rather play like Dennis Schroeder over him. That like gets some upside. I know it's a different position, but same price. But anyways, Julius Randle, I agree with Grant there. The price is coming down. He's going through a rough stretch. But, I was building over. I have him in my main lineup on Yahoo at the moment. He's 33 over there. I think he's playable on all sites. It's just taking a leap of faith that he's, going to go back to who he is. It's a tough game. It's a 204 or 205 point total. The Mavs play extremely slow. The Knicks play extremely slow. There just isn't really a lot of meat on the bone here. Cleaver is going to be like a value play in some places if you need him. I guess it's fine. There's not much of a ceiling there whatsoever. And then it's like Luka. What do we really expect here in his first game back? I think Luka would probably. I think for GPPs, Luka's definitely he's gonna be under-owned for what he should be.
Yeah, like we saw just a few days ago, we put up a 22, 14, and 14 went absolutely nuts against Chicago. We know what he can do. We know historically how he thrives in the absence of Porzingis. So I think it's a really interesting spend up on the slate today. All right, let's move on. Let's talk about my Miami Heat at the Atlanta Hawks. The Miami Heat potentially might get Dwayne Dedmon back. Jimmy Butler is still out. They're expected to get Gabe Vincent, at least have him be available as well too. We're expecting Yurt-7 to start no matter what the situation is with Dedmon, and that kind of makes sense to me. Dedmon's been out for a while, and Yurt-7 pretty clearly has earned himself some minutes. He's earned himself, I think, to start tonight. We'll see what happens when Bam comes back. But as of right now, I think Yurt-7 is going to be ahead of Dedmon in the rotation. We shall see going forward. As far as Atlanta, a lot of if-thens there. We may see DeAndre Hunter come back. He's been out for a long time. We're expecting Capella not to play. He's doubtful. Cam Reddish is doubtful as well. Gorgie Dang is not on the injury report for what it's worth, so maybe he's available tonight, which doesn't seem like a big deal, but could potentially hinder Okongwu, who played a ton of minutes last game in the absence of Capello, and also might potentially hinder the ability for Collins to play some backup five. All this stuff yet to be seen. We shall see. Grant, I'm going to throw it to you. What is your assessment as far as the Hawks first?
Okongwu, he's another guy that makes things work. He's right there with Robin Lopez. Guy's a solid point per minute producer, and with no Capella, he should end up playing high 20s, low 30s minutes, just the way that's kind of working out, where he's going to end up in most, if not all, of my lineups, just because there's not a ton of salary savers here on the board. Outside of that, I think you can take a shot on Trae Young as a pivot off of Embiid, LeBron, and Murray. I don't think I would, but that's just kind of the way it is. So I don't really have a ton of interest in the wings, even without Reddish in here. Herter is fine. I never really like playing him. Bogdanovich is fine. Hunter's fine, but I'm probably just staying away from the majority of the Atlanta side of this game outside of Okongwu as just a salary saver.
We're projecting 32 minutes for Okongwu. He's just short of a fantasy point per minute on DK. So I think literal 1 point fantasy point per minute on FanDuel. 45% ownership on DK. And it's also worth noting, it's very important. He's got power forward eligibility, which helps him with flexibility here, Kirk Dees. FanDuel, the really interesting thing is because you can only roster one center only. Yes, he's 3.9K, severely underpriced. Raw points matter too. We're looking at 58% in projected ownership right now on FanDuel. That is a huge fork in the road that will completely define the rest of your lineup. What are your thoughts? DK, you play him. FanDuel, there's more of a decision point, I suppose.
Yeah, it's tough. So, I just don't know what the real ceiling is with this guy. He's had one good game in his, from DFS that I've ever seen. But the minutes were there, 38 minutes, but he got you a nice solid 21 fantasy points with those 38 minutes in a matchup which not bad. The Clippers don't have any real bigs, but they do play slow too as well. I mean, I guess the total's nice here. The Hawks don't play much defense, so it makes me gravitate towards some of the Heat guys instead. But I guess I'm going to eat the chalk with this guy at this point, but I don't feel good about it. I'm just waiting for some more news to break so I can get him out.
Yeah, I mean, Collins could be interesting as well too, because he's probably going to play a pile of minutes. We're projecting 33. Again, there's a chance, historically how he plays better at the 5. There's a chance he grabs some backup 5. There's also a chance that Deng comes back and potentially plays some backup 5 as well. I'm just trying to think of ways Okongwu can go wrong. But there's some draft equity into him. I think he's a lottery pick as well. He's somebody that they see as part of their future. So it's not just some random dude. Yeah, Grant, talk to me about the Heat tonight. Your thoughts as far as Miami. Kirk D's kind of alluded to it. It's a nice defensive matchup to exploit here as far as the Atlanta side, especially without Capella there. Yeah,
no, Lowry and Hero are probably the two main guys. I think I prefer Lowry just because he's getting a matchup versus Trae Young for the most part. You're at 7 has been crushing recently, but with center being so stacked on this slate, he's kind of a guy that's just gone off my list because there's about 7 other guys that I'd rather end up paying up for. So just kind of the way the slate's gone where he's not really in play. But we know where the entirety of the usage is coming here. It's coming from Hero and it's coming from Lowry. Everyone else is probably priced up to the point where they aren't really in play at all.
Kirk Days, anything you want to add there as far as Miami?
Just follow the Tyler Hero shot attempts, right? Like he's shooting 23 times a game like recently. So that's where I'm going. I like Lowry too. I think they're both in good spots, but I kind of like the scoring for Hero.
All right, let's talk about Houston and San Antonio. 233 is the total. Big old number. 7-point favorite as far as San Antonio. Houston is expected to have Eric Gordon available with his groin. Şengün is questionable as well. They are also expected to get back Armani Brooks for what it's worth, have him available. San Antonio is the tricky thing. A lot of guys currently in the health and safety protocols, they've been upgraded to questionable today, and I believe there's a chance they can test out of it later on tonight. And then who knows what happens, because sometimes guys are out of it a certain period of time and like they don't want to run them out there. But we're kind of in this holding pattern here, Kirk Dees, because we have Devin Vassell, Big Body Keldon Johnson, Derek White, all questionable, but all with a chance to jump back in, be available tonight. And if they are available, it's going to hit Murray. But in their value plays, you've been kind of alluding to, like the value plays like potentially could be good if those guys are out, like the Lonnie Walkers of the world or the KBDs of the world or Primo, even Bryn Forbes. Now they're going to have a bunch of dudes and they all get hits. So I don't know what we're just waiting, I suppose, but you want to play the if then scenario. I think I kind of laid it out there, but that's sort of where we're at. We need more information as far as the Spurs.
Correct. And it's a huge spot. And I like DeJounte Murray no matter what in this game. So the game environment is really what this is, like the nut game environment of the night. You've got the Rockets who play very fast, second in pace. The Spurs who have really cranked up the pace, especially with just DeJounte lately. They're fourth in pace. You got tons of production given up in every spot here. You got the Rockets just get decimated from the 3 line, opponent blocks and steals, 28th in opponent blocks, 30th in opponent steals. That's like DeJounte Murray has his monster games when he's stealing, taking the ball and getting in transition, getting those easy buckets. And that's going to happen tonight, in my opinion, regardless of whether Derek White and any of these other guys are back. So I like him no matter what. I think he's going to smash. I like Jakob Poeltl a lot. I think Houston is just awful on the defensive glass. So I think there's going to be a lot of offensive putbacks for him. And I'll play most centers against Houston. It's the other side. I mean, the one I like Lonnie Walker a lot for he was off to a good night. In back-to-back games, there's just he didn't get the minutes because of a blowout against the Knicks in the last one, but this is a much better matchup for him. So I really like him, but obviously if these other guys come back, that's going to take him away for the most part. So Lonnie Walker is a key to the slate for me right now. And so I'm kind of hoping these guys stay out.
You mentioned Poeltl, by the way, and I love Poeltl too. And again, but it comes down to some places you can only play one center. We've talked about Okongwu. We talked about guys like Robin Lopez and Norvell Pell who might be who could become interesting as far as Utah. We'll tackle that situation soon enough with the absence of all their big men. Where is Pirtle in those rankings? Like, or it's just sort of like
for my main lineup on Yahoo right now, I have Pirtle over Okongwu. And that was originally with like thinking Whiteside was still in, and so I haven't rebuilt since then because we were getting on the show. But that was my fade. I mean, I think if you can get up to him, it's worth it tonight.
Grant, anything you can add as far as San Antonio? By the way, I didn't mean to like diminish. Murray's in play no matter what, but he specifically thrives even more in the absence of White. But he's still a really good play against Houston. 120 team total, and there's nobody going to stop him on that side. He's going to absolutely ravage. It's just a slight hit, and we're also getting, it's kind of like a peak asking price for him as well too. But in no way besmirching Murray. Murray is the guy that is hurt the least because he's still the alpha no matter what the situation is. He's the guy. Grant, anything you want to add on San Antonio, by all means, go for it. Otherwise, jump on over to Houston, where, we're getting an underpriced Christian Wood and a playable Kevin Porter.
Yeah, I mean, that's basically what it is. Christian Wood is a little bit too cheap. He's all the way under 7K. You're always worried about blow up, but there's a 7-point spread. So I think Kemba Walker's out.
Okay.
Sorry, I might need to make some bets if they're on the board. Gosh darn it, log in. But yeah, so Christian Wood is just far too cheap right now. He's a guy that, I'm betting Evan Fournier under 14.5 points immediately. Christian Wood is too cheap at 6.9K. They should end up giving him a decent amount of minutes. If this game stays close, that's when he ends up crushing. He's had over 20 points in 3 of the last 4 games. The other one, I believe, was a tough matchup versus Embiid. So Christian Wood is the play here, and he's another guy where that's kind of the reason why the reason why I'm not playing any studs is because of how much I like Anthony, how much I love Melo, and how cheap Randall is and Wood. So it's just kind of end up going like that where I'm playing some cheap guys and then them. But yeah, Wood, like, he's giving you a ton of upside at this price tag. It's not a terrible matchup. He can end up crushing in any given spot. Porter Jr. always has upside. Will I end up getting to him? Probably not. Like, it's just a spot. It's not a bad one, but he's a guy that can go off for 40 in any given spot. Jalen Green's not good. Tate, probably priced where he should be, can always have some upside, but generally he doesn't have a big blow up game with both Wood and Porter in there. Eric Gordon, no. Like, there's other guys I'd rather play. So really it's just Wood.
Do you want to say what's up again to the old YouTube world? If you guys looking to, first of all, hit that like button, do subscribe, turn on notifications, the bell, everything that helps out the channel. We do appreciate it. Keeps the proverbial lights on. If you all want to join the conversation, our producer, what?
I fudged.
What'd you screw up?
I got distracted. I bet the under on Fournier points.
Yeah, I was just going to ask you why you were taking the under when Kemba was out.
Yeah.
Dean was talking, so I didn't want to interrupt him. So
yeah, it's stupid Dean.
I was just gonna
oh gosh.
I was just gonna say that Grant, a lot of times when you're on the show, you entice people to join our Discord, and one of the ways you do that is you give some of your fabulous sports wagering bets. You throw them in the Discord, and maybe don't give that one. Maybe don't put that one in the Discord.
I mean, we're on enough of a delay where the lines were down on every single site by the time it got to them. Like, the one thing I would suggest doing if you guys are looking, have your phone open with DraftKings, just leave the screen on, or your computer, whatever. Be set on Durant over points, rebounds, assists, depending on how much money and how limited you are on each site. And then as soon as the Harden and Kyrie news come in, be ready to press enter.
Like, have your bet and the page open and everything, right? Is one of your tabs?
Yeah.
I know you're saying on a phone, but I'm thinking of like a laptop in the same sort of thought process.
I mean, I can't bet while I'm on my computer while I'm on a Zoom meeting. So that's why I say phone.
Yeah, I got you.
Did Grant get in on the Draymond Green?
No, I wish I did.
Oh, you're a donkey, Grant. Come on. You got to be all over that stuff.
I mean, by that point in the day, I've already worked 10, 12 hours. I'm just exhausted.
I didn't play basketball that night either. There was an edge to be had. I just took the night off. So yeah, our Discord channel. If you guys are on YouTube, again, join the conversation. Rotogrinders.com/Discord. We're in the live stream chat channel. Does not cost y'all a thing. You do not have to be a premium member. This is not a premium channel. There are some premium channels. This one is not. And one of the ways we entice y'all to join the conversation, well, 2 ways. When Grant's here, Grant's going to throw some of the bets he's locked in. He's throwing in there from scores and odds. Feel free to sprinkle some in there, Grant, for the people. And if you guys join the conversation, ask some questions. Devin will be compiling those questions. Devin's going to choose one lucky person. He does this, but Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 1 week free of RG Premium. Not just basketball, we got football as well too. Tons of contests, $1 million contests going down this weekend in the National Football Association as far as playoffs. So yeah, rotogrinders.com/Discord, live stream chat channel right next to Chiefs Prop Shop channel, which is also free, not a premium channel. Curtis, we got to pick up the pace a little bit. What are your thoughts as far as this game? What do we wait? Did I? Yeah, the other side of the game. My apologies. I lost track. Houston. Do you have any thoughts? Anything to add as far as
love Wood? Kevin Porter's fine. I kind of like Jalen Green. Grant doesn't like him. I kind of like him. I think there's upside there for his price, but it's we'll need a good game from him.
Okay, let's talk about Cleveland and Utah. This is important, obviously. 222 is the total, big old number. Cleveland is a 5-point dog here. For Cleveland, we have questionable Rajon Rondo. Utah, Ingles is questionable for conditioning. We may get Ingles back, but the real story here is the number 1, number 2, and number 3 centers are all out for Utah. Azubuike, number 3, is not playing. Whiteside, number 2, not playing. Number 1 is Gobert. Actually, I skipped Rudy Gay. Rudy Gay also plays backup 5. So all 4 of the guys that play center for Utah are not available. They're not going to be playing tonight. And Cleveland, the opponent, plays big. So not necessarily an opponent you can go small against. So what are we projecting as far as the Utah minutes? Let's see. Who do we have? We're looking at, we got Ingles for 27, Pascal for 24, Pell for 15. But again, there's a chance Pell starts and plays like 23. Like, you got to put a number on this stuff. Royce O'Neal at 33. We're expecting Ingles to come back tonight. That's not official just yet. I'll throw it to you, Kirk Dees. What are we doing with Utah?
I don't know.
That's the right answer.
I don't know either.
I mean, Pell is terrible. And I think we'll get some Pascal. Like he used to play a little bit of center at Golden State. It was more kind of mimicking the Dre lineups, but I think that would make the most sense for me. And I think he would be a good fit. But like you, Grant was saying earlier, like this is the worst matchup to actually have no bigs against with Jared Allen and Evan Mobley. So I think those guys are going to smash, to be honest with you. But I don't really know. I don't really like any of the. I mean, maybe Pascal. I don't want to play Pell. What
if Pell starts? 0.7 fantasy points per minute in the season. I'm sorry, 0.75. Pascal 0.7 for what it's worth. What if Pell starts? He's still minimum 3K on DK, 3.5 on FanDuel, but probably more interesting on DK, I'm guessing.
Yeah, I mean, I guess. But I don't feel good about it. I think he sucks. I think he's so bad.
He's probably bad, but I mean, they have
yeah, I know.
They need
that's
Markkanen's 7 foot, Love 6'8", Mobley's 6'10", Jared Allen 6'10".
I should say, by the way, Pell is still questionable. He's ill and questionable, not officially in, just for the record. So there's a chance he's not available. And there's a chance he's just trying to power through and just play as many minutes as possible, but he's not feeling well. So he's, just going to give the team what he can give them because they need him. So then what? Like if Royce O'Neal play, I guess it'll be Pascal. Like it's just a really undersized 5. And again, he played those small ball lineups. It's hard to play a small ball lineup against, the big boys on Cleveland. So like you said, Kirk T, so that's an interesting thought. Like traditionally you think of Utah, bad matchup. I don't want to play against the Jazz. I don't want to pick of them, but Mobley should crush, right? Allen should get like 15 plus boards. It's really interesting to think of it on the other side.
Allen should go. He's kind of small. He's a smaller big anyway. Like girth. He doesn't have the girth, but he should go. He should go ham in this spot.
What do you have for me here, Grant? You have a thought as far as Cleveland?
I mean, probably the bigs, but they're all kind of priced where they should be. I think Mobley's probably my favorite. It's just a spot where they're all kind of priced up on a slate where a lot of guys are priced down. So it's still a tough matchup overall going up against Utah. I don't, it's being played in Utah. They have so many mouths to
Elevation.
feed. Look at you. Look at you. You're like one of them ground meteorologists. I believe they're called geologists.
You're in the city that has the highest elevation in all basketball. People don't realize Utah's got the second highest.
Yeah, I don't live in Denver anymore, buddy.
Well, close enough, man. If you're gonna, what NBA city are you in? If you're gonna pick one, why are you getting all technical on me, Grant?
I mean, I think technically I'm at a higher elevation than Denver.
Yeah, well, I don't know like the geology of what was for every square mile of Denver. I can't say I know that.
Colorado Springs is not Denver.
What, dude? Whatever, man. It's close enough. So is it an insult to be associated with Denver? It seems like a fine city.
No, I love Denver. I miss Denver. I wish I was in Denver. But
2 games left and no time for Denver talk.
right.
You got okay. Let's move on. Let's start with the Lakers and the Kings. 230.5 is total. It's a big old number. Lakers are 4-point favorites here. As far as what I'm monitoring the Lakers side, well, Russ was not feeling well, but he should be good to go. Carmelo Anthony is questionable. Sacramento, again, their bigs are hindered. No Damian Jones, no Rashawn Holmes, and Tristan Thompson is questionable with the squad. But like the Lakers are happy playing their, LeBron at the 5 and Len gets played off the court like always. There's Metu as well. Queta is another guy, another big. They can, work in the rotation as far as Sacramento. What do you have for me, Kirk Dees, as far as this game? Like LeBron's going to smash. He's an awesome play here. Duh.
Love this game. Love it. The Lakers are only 4-point favorites on the road. Kings are awful. 230-point total. Kings, horrible defense, 26th in defensive rating, are playing much faster. They're 9th in pace. They've been playing even faster. Lakers are 3rd in pace. Kings give up boatload of stats everywhere. 25th in opponent blocks, 22nd opponent steals. Lakers give up a ton of steals. This game is just gonna go nuts, I think. So I like all the plays in this game. I like LeBron if I can afford him. I don't think I'm going to have to prioritize him for a main lineup, but I definitely want a bunch of him tonight. I like Halliburton. I like De'Aaron Fox. I think he's coming off of 2 really bad games after a pretty good stretch he had, but I think this is a great matchup for him. The Lakers guard defense is just not good. So, and then the interesting thing is, what do they do with the bigs on Sacramento? Does Marvin Bagley get more minutes tonight? Does what does he do with them? Does Alex Len stay on the court? I don't know. This game can break a lot of different ways, so I'm going to try to play this game a lot of different ways.
Yeah, I like Halliburton. I like Hield. I like Fox. I'm not sure what's my favorite. I don't think I'm like a full priority, but I think all of them have a chance to get there. Do you have a favorite amongst Sacramento? Your favorite Sacramento play?
I like De'Aaron Fox tonight. It's going to be low. He'll be lower owned than Halliburton.
If Melo doesn't play, there's a chance THT gets a bit of a bump, but I still don't think that's like a priority, but sure, he's interesting, I suppose. Monk is now, priced up where you really have to think about that one, and we know how scoring reliant he can be. Grant, what do you have as far as this game?
So if I do end up going more studs, then I'm going to go 100% LeBron and Halliburton. And then if Harden and Kyrie, if we don't get Harden and Kyrie news, and then I will swap off 100% to Fox and Durant if Kyrie and Harden both get ruled out.
So Fox is your favorite King as well?
Or I prefer Fox to Halliburton, but it's a marginal amount. It's basically because the $700 down from LeBron to KD gives me enough to go from Halliburton to Fox.
Last game of the night, again, 10 o'clock game in Chicago is kind of weird. 235.5 a total. Monster number. It's high and it's tight. The Bulls are 1.5 point favorites. 82 game season. This one feels like it's more important than all the others or many of the others. Might have a playoff atmosphere. Wouldn't surprise me if the place is going absolutely bananas. I know Andy Means is writing about how they're going to be all liquored up by the time the game starts, and they're in Chicago. Chicago's, I think, the number 1 seed currently in the East, if I'm not mistaken. Potential playoff matchup going down in the future. The key thing here, of course, is that James Harden and Kyrie Irving, 2 of the big 3 on Brooklyn, are both questionable. If they're both out, Durant is an absolutely amazing play. This is the math problem. If all 3 play, none are exceptional, none are amazing, all are playable. One can get there. And if one is out, then the other 2 get bumped up. Claxton is also questionable, and LMA is dealing with a foot, so he is out. Chicago pretty much fully healthy. They're without Caruso, but otherwise they're good to go. Yeah, Grant, I mean, that's it as far as Brooklyn, right? Like, it's pretty clear. But once we don't have the information, but once we get it, we know what to do with these guys, right?
Yeah. No, as of right now, we have no idea what to do. But if Kyrie and Harden are both ruled out, you play Durant. If one of them ends up playing, I think Durant and the other guy are both in play. They're not great plays. Both Kyrie and Harden ruled out. You potentially play Patty Mills as a cheap guy, especially if you want to change some things around. But if everyone ends up playing, I'm fading this game most likely.
Kirk Dees, it's weird to say that because it's an amazing total and it's expected to be close, but I understand what you're saying. I get it. And Chicago pieces, of course, are interesting too, but they're all kind of priced where they should be. Kirk Dees, what do you have for me?
Yeah, this is another great game. So I think what we probably should end up doing is just leaving a lot of spots for this late news, right? And know that we can go to either the Lakers, Sacramento, or play some of this Brooklyn, Chicago. And probably, we'll probably get news before, at the 8:30. I'm thinking, well, hopefully that's what I'm hoping anyway. So we can play some, we can use some of the Houston, San Antonio guys. But the Nets will be easy once we get the news. Like Patty Mills could be a good value piece. He may not be in play at all. It all depends how this shakes out. Harden, Kyrie, yeah, sure, Durant. However the news breaks, we're gonna smash this game. Lonzo Ball, I kind of like in this matchup. I just kind of think this game is gonna shoot out. With it being on ESPN and the way that the Bulls play and the way the Nets play, I think this game is going to break really fast. And so Lonzo is a guy that I think will be under-owned tonight and has some GPP upside. Obviously Levine is always in play depending on which site I think he's cheaper on FanDuel. Is that correct? I think he's really cheap on FanDuel. I think he's
7.2 on FanDuel, which is a great price. Love him there.
Yep.
And Kyrie 8.2 is a pretty good price too. Especially if assuming he plays and Harden's out, then he's an awesome play.
Yeah, and it's interesting. The Kyrie got 40 minutes the other night. So if he played, and it didn't look bad, that ankle, it looked more like
Little kind of wiped him out. Little was diving for a loose ball and sort of wiped his legs out, and he played through it. I think he's fine.
Yeah, I don't think it's a big deal, but we'll see. They might baby him. The question I want to ask is from the last game that we didn't talk, Davion Mitchell is projecting as a top value tonight on a lot of sites.
Well, I think that's a value situation, right? He's super cheap. He's basically the floor, and we only have 22 minutes projected for him, which seems a little bit low, in my opinion. I feel like he would get a little bit more run than that. Of course, he's their prize, prospect in this last draft, and really good, solid defensive player. I don't know who they're going to throw on LeBron, maybe Mo Harkless or something like that. Whoever it is, it's not going to work. Maybe they throw a little bit of Mitchell on him too. Again, that's not going to work either. No, I can't imagine that would work. LeBron's too big for him. But I'm not going to say you can't play him, but I don't think that's not popping for me. What's he going to put up? 20 points?
Dean, should I bet his under 0.5 steals?
I wouldn't do that. That one's not for the faint of heart, but I'm not saying it's a bad bet. You know better than me.
I just bet it.
Lakers
all right.
28th and opponent steals.
Grant, did you want to add anything here? I think you'd like to add on, or shall we just yield to questions from the chat?
Let's get to them questions, since Dean doesn't know time management.
Well, you had to talk about Denver and the geography of cities, the surrounding cities. Slambert wants to know who are we playing in the Spurs because Houston sucks. Yeah, we talked about that, but it's kind of murky because we don't know who's coming back and who's not. But Grant, give me who we're playing. We love Murray. He's great. What else can we figure out as far as San Antonio?
Podol.
Murray, Pirtle, Lonnie Walker, if all these guys are out.
All right. This one's for you, Kirk Dees. K-Mac wants to know thoughts on Dwight Howard as value. He had a pretty big game for Sacramento last time out.
It's possible. I don't like it, but it is possible that it could be Len and Dwight Howard out there playing.
But more likely than not. If he starts, sure, but more likely than not, we're expecting LeBron to start the 5. I think that's what we're expecting.
Yeah.
Yeah, Howard this season in 3 games versus Sacramento is averaging 28 and 10 for what it's worth. And I feel like they've played at least one like double overtime against Sacramento, maybe triple overtime. I think that was the game that got funky earlier this year. Obviously, you don't need that. And we talked about it multiple times with the priority of the center position. You really can't miss. Can't screw that one up. Flores Marks, thoughts on Yurt 7? We kind of touched on him. Dedmon is available for what it's worth. I presume Yurt 7 is still going to start. Gorshi Jang also available for what it's worth. Grant, you like Yurt 7 tonight?
No, too many other good centers than someone's asking about. Orlando. Lopez is cheap, makes things work. Okiki is a solid play. I love Cole Anthony.
Kirk D's, if Harden is out, any thoughts on Cam Thomas at 4K on DK? He's been all right of late.
Yeah, maybe. I'd rather Patty Mills, but you could take a stab there.
Grant, David wants to know, FanDuel tournaments, is Pascal worth a look? You probably want him. Yeah, he should be. I mean, he's going to get some run, right? I think they kind of.
Yeah, I have to
I think he earned it in that game against Toronto. Was it? Yeah.
We're expecting 22 minutes out of him for what it's worth, but like this stuff is. Our Utah projections. Look, you got to put a number on it, and it's fragile right now, man. It's tough to do. So yeah, I'm okay with him in your pool. He's 4-2 on FanDuel. Sure. Yeah, I wouldn't feel great about it, but I need more information. Thoughts on Terrence Ross? T. Ross, the boss? Can we go back to the well here, Kirk D's? Terrence Ross?
He got some good coach speak recently, so yeah, you could. I don't love it, but
they want to trade him, don't they?
Why not?
You got to assume, like, I don't know.
I mean, he's actually been killing it lately, to be honest with you. But
yeah,
he is what he is. Like, he's a guy that can go out there and put 25 points in the bucket. He's also a guy that can like have like an 8 fantasy point night. That both things can happen.
I kind of like the play. The more I think about this, like, yeah, I like him.
Grant, Mitch Rob versus Dallas for FanDuel tournaments. Have you considered him, Mitch Robinson? Noel, I believe, is available. And I think Taj is available too. Did I not see that? I want to confirm that. But what do you have as far as Mitch Rob?
Don't really have any interest. And someone's telling me I lost money on Davion Mitchell's steals bet. The guy's had 2 games where he's had steals over the last 8. People don't realize that he's a good defender. He's not getting a ton of steals.
Both Taj and Noel are available for what it's worth. So I think that's not positive news for Mitch Rob. And we keep talking about that center position. I don't see myself going there, but maybe he gets 7 blocks tonight. All right, let's see. Oh, the winner, EDJM7. You won yourself RG Premium. Devin, producer Devin's he probably already reached out to you. He's gonna hook you up. And again, that's for all the sports. Have at it. Enjoy yourself. The 180 HQ, the premium shows, the premium tools, lots of stuff we can't really dig into. Not enough time for it. Thoughts on PJ Tucker? Have you considered PJ Tucker tonight, Kirk D's?
No.
Yeah, I haven't either. Like, like if he's gonna hit his 5 corner threes, like, it's probably not gonna happen. If it does, I'm gonna lose. So it's not gonna work out for me. Grant, specific to DK tournaments, favorite small forward. Now, small forward, Grant, on DraftKings, not named RJ Barrett, 7K or under, or I guess under 7K, 6'9" and under. I'll give you a second if you need a second. Kirk D's, give me your favorite game stack of the night.
It's going to be the Lakers Sacramento.
Grant, you got somebody for me on DK specific to small forward under 7K, not named RJ Barrett.
Bogdanovich or Wagner. All
right, all right, fair enough. Is that kind of a dead zone? I don't like those names.
I mean, there's only one small forward between. Yeah, it's Gordon Hayward. There's Gordon Hayward. There's Bogdanovich. There's Wagner. I have them all pretty close to the same. So if you're leaving money on the table, then just get up to Hayward.
Your name on Zoom still says Sir Elton Commodore, by the way. I just noticed that right now.
That is my name.
It really is not. Yeah, so it's Flores Mark to set us up for failure because he's asking a question where there's like no answer. There's nobody there under 7K that's worth playing or even available. All right, we got to step aside and get out of here. We got to make way for crunch time. One of the things y'all get with premium as well. They're going to break down any news that breaks from now until 7, which it's going to happen. Probably going to happen. Have at it. Thank you, Devin, for producing. Thanks for y'all watching us on the old YouTube and on Rotogrinders.com. Do hit that like button. Do subscribe. Do turn on notifications. That was Kirk D's. That was Grant. That was Devin producing. That was basketball. That was Dean. We're out of here. Holler.